They sit behind glass, tucked in corners of dusty museums, hung high where no one dares to touch, locked away in basements, attics, and vaults, because some believe that simply owning them is enough to summon disaster. What if certain objects, dolls, chairs, paintings, jewels, weren't just things but conduits for something else? Something darker? Throughout history, legends have whispered of cursed possessions, objects so entwined with tragedy, death, or the uncanny that no one who touches them walks away unchanged. Some say it's coincidence, others the imagination running wild, but some aren't so sure. In this video, we'll explore 5 of the most notorious haunted and cursed items ever recorded. From a child's doll locked behind glass that's said to have caused fatal accidents, to a glittering jewel that left a trail of ruin through royal bloodlines. These are not just ghost stories. Many of these artifacts can still be seen today. You could visit them if you dare. So light a candle, lock your doors, and join us as we ask, can an object truly be cursed? Or is the real power what we believe about it? Let's begin. Nestled inside a glass case marked with a handwritten warning, "Positively do not open," sits one of the most infamous objects in paranormal history, Annabelle. But forget the porcelain-faced doll from the movies. The real Annabelle is a plain, red-haired Raggedy Ann toy. Ordinary in appearance, until you learn what's said to dwell within. The story begins in 1970, when a nursing student named Donna received the doll as a birthday gift from her mother. Soon after, Donna and her roommate began to notice strange things. The doll seemed to change positions on its own. At times, it would appear in a different room entirely. Then came the notes, small scraps of parchment with the message, "Help us," written in a childish scrawl. The girls had no such paper in their apartment. Concerned, they contacted a medium who claimed the doll was inhabited by the spirit of a young girl named Annabelle Higgins. The girls tried to comfort the spirit, allowing it to remain. But the activity escalated. One male visitor reported being physically attacked, scratched, and choked in his sleep after mocking the doll. Frightened, the students contacted famed paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren. The Warrens determined this was no child's spirit, but a non-human demonic entity using the doll as a vessel. They took it into custody, where it now resides in their occult museum in Connecticut, locked in a case and occasionally blessed by a priest. The legend doesn't end there. According to the Warrens, one visitor mocked Annabelle, banging on the glass and daring it to do something. After being thrown out, he reportedly died in a motorcycle accident just hours later. Skeptics argue it's all elaborate storytelling, fed by movies like The Conjuring and Annabelle. But believers insist there's something real behind those stitched eyes. Would you dare to stand in front of her glass case and say her name? It looks like an ordinary wooden wine cabinet, aged, scuffed, unremarkable. But according to those who've owned it, the Dybbuk Box holds something far more sinister. The legend begins in 2003 when a man named Kevin Mannis listed the cabinet on eBay. In the item description, he detailed a chilling backstory. He had purchased the box at an estate sale from a Holocaust survivor. Soon after, strange things began happening. His shop filled with the scent of jasmine and cat urine. Light bulbs exploded, and everyone who came into contact with the box reported nightmares. His mother had a stroke the very day he gave it to her as a gift. Other owners of the box claimed their hair fell out. Electronics failed. Shadows moved in the corners of their vision. One man described overwhelming dread. Each owner, it seemed, was desperate to rid themselves of it. According to Jewish folklore, A Dybbuk is a malevolent spirit capable of attaching itself to a living host, and man has claimed this box was its prison. Skeptics suspect the tale was a creative hoax crafted to drive up the eBay price. But the story took on a life of its own. The Dybbuk Box inspired the 2012 horror film The Possession, and its notoriety only grew. In 2018, pop star Post Malone visited Zach Bagans' Haunted Museum in Las Vegas, where the Dybbuk Box now resides. Witnesses claim Post touched the box, or was merely in the room as it was opened. In the weeks that followed, he was involved in a near-fatal plane emergency, a car crash, and a home invasion, prompting tabloids to whisper, "Was he cursed?" Of course, no scientific evidence supports any supernatural activity, but the Dybbuk Box remains locked away behind glass, surrounded by whispered warnings and uneasy glances. What if it's not the box that's dangerous, but the belief that makes it so? It's just an old wooden chair, rough, unremarkable, tucked into a museum in North Yorkshire, England. But to many, it's known by a darker name, Busby's Stoop chair, or more ominously, the dead man's chair. The story dates back to 1702. Thomas Busby, a man with a violent temper, was sentenced to death for murdering his father-in-law. The motive? Some say it was a dispute over Busby's beloved drinking chair. As he was led to the gallows, Busby supposedly cursed the seat, declaring that anyone who sat in it would meet a swift and untimely death. At first, the curse was dismissed as local folklore, but over the centuries, too many people died after sitting in that very chair, enough to make even skeptics take notice. During World War II, airmen from a nearby base would visit the pub that housed the chair. Legend says those who sat in it never returned from their bombing missions. Later, a roofer who took a break in the chair fell to his death the same day. A cleaning woman reportedly tripped and died after brushing against it. As the death toll linked to the chair mounted, the pub owner made a decision. In 1972, he donated it to the Thirsk Museum. But even that wasn't enough. To this day, the chair is mounted high on a wall, out of reach, so that no one can sit in it by accident. Is it cursed, or is it just a coincidence spun into legend by centuries of storytelling? The chair doesn't speak, but its silence is chilling. After all, the last thing anyone wants is to be the next chapter in its deadly tale. Few jewels in the world shine with as much brilliance or carry as much dark reputation as the Hope Diamond. A mesmerizing 45-carat deep blue gem, it now rests behind secure glass in the Smithsonian Institution. But for centuries, this diamond has been trailed by whispers of death, ruin, and misfortune. The legend begins in India, where the diamond was said to have been stolen from the eye of a statue, an act of sacrilege that allegedly cursed the gem and all who possessed it. The tale is murky, but the warning stuck. The Hope Diamond brings tragedy. One of the earliest known owners, French gem merchant Jean-Baptiste Tavernier, supposedly met a grisly end, torn apart by wild dogs. In truth, he died of old age, but the myth endured. The diamond later found its way into the hands of King Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette, both famously executed during the French Revolution, another victim added to the curse's lore. In the 20th century, Evelyn Walsh McLean, a wealthy American socialite, acquired the diamond. During her ownership, she suffered a series of personal tragedies. Her son was killed in a car accident, her daughter died of a drug overdose, and her husband left her for another woman. Did the diamond cause her misfortunes, or was it just the randomness of a troubled life under the spotlight? Interestingly, some believe the curse was manufactured by Pierre Cartier, the famous jeweler, to boost the diamond's allure. It worked. The legend helped him sell the Hope Diamond to McLean. Today, it lies in calm silence at the Smithsonian National Museum of Natural History, watched by millions. Scientists insist it's just a stone, carbon and boron compressed under the earth. But the myth of the curse lingers. Visitors still speak of the long chain of sorrow trailing behind its beauty. Is it coincidence, or something older, darker, embedded in the stone itself? Some haunted objects are ancient, some are glittering jewels. But one of the most unnerving cursed items of modern times is a simple painting. It's called "The Hands Resist Him," and unlike other cursed objects, it was born not in the mists of legend, but on the internet. Painted by Bill Stoneham in 1972, the artwork shows a young boy standing beside a lifeless doll in front of a glass door. Behind the glass, disembodied hands pressing toward them from the dark. It's eerie. But it was just art, until it wasn't. In 2000, an eBay seller listed the painting with a chilling story: that the figures in the painting moved at night, that the doll would threaten the boy, that their home had been plagued with strange noises, nightmares, even unexplained illnesses. The seller included photos that supposedly captured the boy stepping out of the painting. The internet did what it does best. It went viral. The haunted eBay painting was born. The listing drew thousands of views, and even now some people claim that just looking at the image online makes them feel sick, dizzy, or watched. Eventually, the painting sold for over $1,000 to a gallery in Michigan, where it remains today. The artist, Stoneham, later said that the piece represented childhood vulnerability, and the hands were other lives pressing in. He never intended it to be sinister, but even he was startled by how many people reported intense reactions to it. Is it haunted, or is it just a case of collective projection, where the right imagery, paired with suggestion, stirs something deep and unsettling in all of us? Either way, "The Hands Resist Him" proves one thing. In the age of digital storytelling, even pixels can carry a curse. Not every cursed or haunted object gets its own horror movie, but that doesn't mean they're any less unsettling. Here are a few infamous items that just missed our top 5, yet continue to creep out believers and skeptics alike. Robert the Doll. Housed in a museum in Key West, Florida, this early 20th century doll once belonged to a boy named Robert Eugene Otto. Legend says the doll would change expressions, move rooms on its own, and even giggle. Visitors to the museum are warned to ask Robert's permission before taking a photo, or risk being cursed. The walls around his case are covered in letters from people who say they disrespected him and suffered consequences, begging the doll for forgiveness. The Black Orlov Diamond. This 67-carat black diamond, also called the Eye of Brahma, allegedly originated from a desecrated Hindu statue. Since then, it's been tied to multiple suicides and misfortunes among its owners, including Russian royalty and New York jewelers. Today, it's in a secure setting, but its legend lingers. The Crying Boy paintings. Mass-produced images of a sad young boy with tears on his cheek became popular in British homes during the 1950s. But in the 1980s, tabloids reported that homes containing the painting were prone to mysterious fires, and that the paintings themselves often survived unscathed. Firefighters reportedly began refusing to allow the prints in their own homes. Some chalk it up to coincidence or fire-resistant varnish. Others aren't so sure. Each of these items shares a common thread: ordinary objects turned extraordinary by the fear they inspire. Proof that it doesn't take demonic origin stories to unsettle the human imagination. Sometimes all it takes is a pair of unblinking eyes or an unburnt frame. So, what do you think? Are these just eerie stories passed down and polished over time? Or do some objects really carry a darkness that clings to them? Maybe it's psychological, our tendency to connect misfortune to something tangible, to give bad luck a face or a name. Or maybe there really is something to the idea that certain objects absorb energy, memories, or worse, spirits. Museums keep these items behind glass. Owners give them away. Some are too afraid to even say their names out loud. But no matter how skeptically we frame it, stories of cursed possessions have a strange power. They spread, they linger. So here's the question. Would you ever touch one of these objects or bring one into your home? And have you ever encountered something that just felt wrong, like it was watching you? Let us know in the comments, and hey, don't forget to like and subscribe. You wouldn't want the algorithm to curse this video.